All right.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. The Montgomery County Regional Fire and Rescue Training Center burn building, and on the behalf of the men and women of the fire and rescue personnel in Montgomery County, town of Christiansburg, and town of Blacksburg, I'd like to welcome you to this extremely important occasion. A little over 10 years ago, Chief Keith Bolte asked if I would write a grant for a burn building. I was really unsure exactly what I was saying when I said I sure would. And little did I know it'd be this long process to get it done. But we applied for the grant, was awarded the grant for construction. We were going to the Radford Army Ammunition Plant to build a facility, and the location sort of failed us. To recover the water off of this, which is about 50 gallons, the Corps of Engineers asked us $300,000. So we had to set that aside. Not to be defeated, Chief Bolte again said, let's write it again. We'll find another place. So this is the place. We worked toward that. We put it out for bid. We had $450,000 to build the structure. The low bid was $890,000. That didn't work. So after we approached the Fire Services Board with some alternative structures, designs, we were once again granted the funding to do this. And after consultation with our architecture firm, Wiley & Wilson, a set of plans was approved by the structures group, and here we are today. RFP was led by our purchasing department. Hall's Construction was the contractor. Barry Hall, a longtime resident of Montgomery County, he said, this is my home, this is my building, and it's built for my people. We'll get it done, and they have. Ground was broken. We're here today for the open house. We're here for the upsetting of some umbrellas. And I'd just like to ask Craig Meadows now if he would offer a prayer over our event today.
Thank you. Let us pray, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the blessings that you've given us. We thank you most of all for the opportunity to be here today to celebrate another success in our community. Thank you for those companies and individuals involved in this process. Thank you most of all for the men and women who serve our community in these volunteer roles and what this building will mean for them and their training opportunities moving forward. Thank you, watch over us. Please help hold the rain off a little longer. In his name we pray.
I want to recognize some special people here today. I'd like to recognize all the men and women of the fire and rescue departments in Montgomery County. We have several here today, and I thank you for making an effort to be here. Public Information Office of Montgomery County. What a group. Thank y'all very much for being here. You're always there to steer us in the right direction, even if Durley is a part of your group. The first day Durley and I met, they were coming down the hall to introduce me to her. I was running out to a call. I said, I don't have time to fool with you right now. I'll be back later. And she said, we've been BFFs since. So sort of works that way. Just like to recognize Chief Jimmy Poindexter, representing the Virginia Fire Chiefs Association. And I saw you a minute ago and I've lost you. Thank you very much for being here. Gary Hall, I'd hoped that he would be here today. Gary has had some back trouble and he's having some trouble getting around these days. Mike Purdue, with McGrady and Purdue, they were responsible for the heat and air in the maze room. John Neal from Gay & Neal Engineering, and John is not here, but he's represented by one of his employees today who has got an awesome last name, Kate Turner, and we thank you for representing them. And then the lady who has, I I told her a minute ago, I have more documents in my office signed by her than I do my county administrator, Teresa Hunter. She's the grants manager for the Department of Fire Programs. And thank you for always being positive when I was not. I'd like right now to call Chief Bolte to the podium for some remarks about this bill.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming. This has been I would say a labor of love, and we've been working on it a long time. I'd like to think of all the interaction with the agencies and governments, especially the town of Blacksburg, the town of Christiansburg, and Montgomery County for stepping up and finishing this thing off for us. We really appreciate it. We're going to do a lot of good training down here, and thanks for coming again. Thanks.
I'd like to recognize those members of the Board of Supervisors that are with us. Ms. Mary Biggs, Steve Fidzikowski, and Chris Tuck. And Chris, since you're the liaison between the board and the Fire and Rescue Commission, do you have anything that you'd like to say?
Our fire and rescue. We're so fortunate in this community that we have folks like you who are willing to give so much of your time and of yourselves and put your lives on the line for us. And we're truly blessed to have you out here. And I'm so glad that we've got this facility to help you train. But we're also thankful for the Duncans who are here, who helped raise money for this building, to the numerous events that they had. And thank you all.
Mr. Meadows, County Administrator.
I'll be brief. Again, thanks to everybody for being here this afternoon, handling the blustery weather. I've been here a little less than 10 years, and when I came in August of 2009, one of the first things Neal and I talked about was a burn building. And so it's taken a few twists and turns and a few trips to Glen Allen, and but we're here and glad to see it here. One of the things that means the most to me is I've been standing over there looking around is I see Marc Verniel here. Marc's the town manager in Blacksburg. I know there's probably some folks from Christiansburg here as well, but just looking at the trucks, looking at the people, this is a true community facility. It's not just for Montgomery County, it's not just for one town or the other. It's a true community facility, and that's what makes this county so great, is when there's a need, everybody pulls together, everybody works with each other to make things happen. And the greatest example, one of the greatest examples we have of that in the county is our fire and rescue organization. So on behalf of the Board of Supervisors and the staff, thank you so much for all the support. And I look forward to seeing this thing in action sometime soon. Thank you.
Marc, would you like to make a comment?
And we have a lot of volunteers here from all the different agencies in the county, and I want to first thank you all for what you do. You all provide a great high-level professional service, better than anything we could imagine. And I think our role is to help you all have the facilities and the equipment you need to do your jobs on a day-to-day basis. And I know we've made that commitment in Blacksburg. I know the town of Christiansburg and the county have made that commitment as well. It's really a partnership. I remember talking to Keith about this years ago. I know they had a dream of getting this done, and it's been a lot of persistence on the part of the volunteer agencies and then cooperation with the state government and the local governments to get this done. So it's a great day, and I look forward to seeing it in action too. And I even had some folks tell me they'd let me go inside. I don't know that I want to do that, but I'll go inside today, but I don't know when it's burning. But thank you all for what you do, and this is a great day for the county.
Thank you very much. I don't see Mr. Wingfield here. I do see John Neal that just stepped in, and thank you very much for all that you've done for us and always taking care of us. Probably, I would say about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we got to the point where we really couldn't go further. We had things like engineering fees to work with for our engineering firm. We'd already spent our allotted money with the grant, and the engineer said, I need more money. So through a great partnership with David Duncan and the Duncan Automotive Group, David and his folks have come on board, and we're right at $30,000 that we've earned through the drive events and through the personal donations of the Duncan family. And to be quite honest with you, we were at a point where we couldn't do it without you. David, would you like to make comments?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Neal. This all started just a brief conversation in the service drive one day, and I tell you on behalf of all the employees and staff at Duncan Automotive Network, it's great to follow a visionary, Neal, like yourself, and I tell you what, this is a special day for all of us, and I just, for all of us, the Duncan family and all of our staff members, we're proud to have just a little part of this whole project. So for that, congrats to you, Neal.
We're proud that you're a partner with us. Chief Hanks went and talked to a man by the name of Jim Lansanese and said, we need to put a water line in so we can have a fire hydrant right here. He said, shouldn't be a real big deal. Jim jumped on it, sent the town crew over here. We were about 35 feet into it. It became a real big deal. We beat rock all the way up the rest of the way. So, Jim, I thank you so much for all that you've done for us, for making that water line happen. We had a price, the first price we got on the water line to install it from our people was about $90,000, and we didn't pay that to get it done. And Jim, I thank you very much for all that you've done to help us. I have the pleasure of introducing to you Chief John Caussin. He is representing the Executive Director of the Department of Fire Programs for your remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Looks like you're holding the weather off well, so you really are a powerful emergency manager, I'd say. Good afternoon. As was stated, my name's John Caussin, and I have the privilege to serve as the Training and Operations Chief for the Virginia Department of Fire Programs. I'm honored to be here today, and on behalf of Governor Ralph Northam, Secretary of Public Safety and Homeland Security Brian Moran, Deputy Secretary Ryan Washington, and Teresa and I's boss, Executive Director Mike Riley, we want to congratulate you on this accomplishment. I have several things in my prepared remarks here, several themes that I've already heard mentioned, so it's good that we're all tracking along the same lines, and a few of those things come about community, partnerships, and at the end of the day, that's what gets projects like this done, despite the hurdles that are put before us, right? So the Fire Services Grant exists to provide resources and training in support of those men and women that have committed to preserving life and property in their respective communities. This live fire training structure will serve not only the fire department members here in Montgomery County, but those from around the region, as I've heard several of you mention. I know the vision for this dedicated resource started quite a few years ago, and it's been a long time coming. I also understand, if I didn't know before my research coming in, I understand today there's been a lot of challenges along the way. I've heard it said that nothing good comes easy, and I think this project and this accomplishment is a very good thing for the fire service in this community, in this region. So I guess that saying does stand to justify the work that's gone into this. I want to commend the fire service leaders and Emergency Services Coordinator Neal Turner for your commitment and service, as well as the support provided by the community, the elected and appointed officials throughout this region, our business community. We couldn't do it without these partnerships and without this collaboration. To make this a reality, that truly is a big accomplishment. It provides a lot of input or insight for myself into what kind of community this is. My daughter's a Hokie, so I kind of had an idea, but the surrounding area that focuses on Virginia Tech with being a emergency services provider, it's good to get out here with y'all and kind of get to know everyone. Virginia Fire Services Board and Department of Fire programs appreciates this opportunity to serve and again partner with you in providing the highest level of professional development and resources for the fire service, as well as statewide risk reduction efforts in our communities. Once again, I congratulate all of you and thank you for letting Teresa and I be a part of your ceremony today.
Also want to recognize someone who quickly become a friend of the fire service, Jonathan Best, who is with the Department of Forestry. Thank you for being here. This is how we control air burns. We put them in a building. We don't backlight them, but you'll understand if you know anything about the Forestry Service. Also want to recognize Steve Winter from Snobble Engineering. They were our third-party engineer that oversaw the construction of the building and did all the testing and so on and so forth. Steve, thank you for you and your people and all the work they did to keep us all straight and all on track, and thank you very much. Somebody that I met just a few years ago, and we work together every day, and some days I think he blocks my call, but that's okay. I still find him, and that's Scott Woodrum, our county engineer. Scott, your knowledge and your support and your investment in this project is invaluable, and I thank you for that. Also, today recognize Helen St. Clair, our county treasurer, and thank you for being here and taking your time to be with us. And also Sheriff Parton, thank you for being here. It's always good when you're out and with us, and it's also good when you're liberal with your personnel to help when we need them as well. Thank you for that. So if I could get all the board members, Marc, Craig, and the chief officer from each of the departments represented here, we're going to cut a ribbon.
Hey, Chris and Mary, you're the expert. Greg, you're the expert too. Don't let them cut it until we take a few pictures. What? Oh, that's right. You gotta just hold it there.
Come on in. Come on in.
I'll get next one. No, they want you before you cut it.
Hey, don't cut it. You're just going to hold your scissors there until we take a bunch of pictures.
Oh, really? Y'all probably just don't know how excited this is that we get to do this today. But I've waited for 10 years to say, let's cut the ribbon.
Yeah, now.
All right.
Yours.
Now, what we need,
Where's Jimmy in the box?
And then was there some type of fire tradition you're supposed to do? Like, you know, when you do the champagne on the...
Yeah, we would normally light a fire. We're not doing that today.
I was going to give her one.
Yeah.
I didn't say what I
Slide it this way. Or something to do with this.
I know, that's what I did.
All right, I'm going to make it quick because I don't know what the weather's going to do. I know everybody's heard the old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. I can honestly tell you, neither is a fire building. Rome has lasted a long time, and I'm sure this building's going to be there as well. While the men and women of the fire service and EMS will enjoy many hours of training here, I want to assure you that they're striving daily to provide the best care in our communities each and every day. It doesn't matter whether they're training here, they're out there doing the work, and I thank you for that. Over 400 volunteers countywide. Montgomery County enjoys mostly all volunteer fire departments and rescue squads in our county, and these men and women deserve the attention of our communities. As they train and develop the skills that they desire and need to perform in difficult situations, it's an honor for me to have a job that allows them to afford them some of the tools to do their job better. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Walt Bailey. Walt Bailey is chair of the Fire Services Board. He was the first one to perk his ears when we said there's an alternative to a concrete structure. And Walt said, I want to know more. So we provided him all the information we could. Fought hard for us. Walt answered so many of my phone calls, calling him back and forth, saying, we got this, we got that. His wife asked him who I was. So we became pretty good friends. Teresa, again, thank you so much for all that you've done for us. It's so amazing. She never failed to say, Chief Turner, we're going to get there, just hang in. And we hung in. Jim Eichholtz, who represents WHPT Towers, Training Towers, we began to talk over 10 years ago, and Jim can really talk. And so thank you for your persistence. Thank you for affording this. The Board of Supervisors, after watching us get so close so many times, thank you for finally saying, we're done with waiting, we're going to build the building. That was cool. And last but not least is Craig Meadows, County Administrator, who I work for believing that we could get this done. There was a point in time when Craig mentioned we were in Glen Allen, and one of the members of the Fire Services Board, I was standing telling him what we were working on, and he said, you're a liar. And I looked around at Craig, and I must have had that look like a kid does, that said, Daddy, come help. Craig stepped up. Craig said, what he's telling you is the truth. And he said, I think both of you are liars. And so we stepped out of that room thinking that we were sort of spanked pretty hard. And we met a young lady who, thank God, is no longer at fire programs, who pointed her finger in Craig's face and said, you'll never have another conversation with this gentleman about your burn building, or you won't get a dime. And sometimes it's good when people move on. And now we have a burn building. So Craig, thank you for your faithfulness in this project, but for your commitment to emergency services in Montgomery County. So with that being done, the doors can be opened. We can go in. And if you've heard anything in the last little while, they slam pretty hard. And we've got a lot of wind, but I welcome you to our house. This concludes the ribbon cutting part. Come look around, please. Be a part of today, and thank you so much. At 6:30 this evening, we will also be having a dinner at the south end zone, and I thank Coach Carlin for making those arrangements and getting us there, and for a little bitty guy over in Blacksburg Fire Department, Chris Lucas, for arranging the food. But if you're going to have a meal, send Chris Lucas for it. So thank you very much for being here. God bless you, and I just pray every day that every person that enters this door learns something that sends them home in the evening when the fire's over. Thank you, folks.